Dr. Keith, the EF2 Realty Team, powered by Keller Williams. I'm here with my good friend, Sean Kaufman. Greetings, Sean.
Yes.
For today's topic, should we really shake hands? I'm not sure.
I think we're fairly safe.
Okay, all right.
Unless you're not feeling well right now.
I feel pretty good, but...
Did you wash your hands?
I did wash my hands.
After you went to the restroom?
Yes.
Okay, very good. When was the last time you washed your hands? Do you remember?
At the last time I went to the bathroom.
When was that?
About 10 minutes ago, right before I got here.
Well, 10 minutes is not bad. That's fine. That's fine. Very good.
Now I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. Our interview today is with Sean Kaufman, and I'm going to let him introduce a little bit about himself. I know him really well, but I know him more from my tennis partner, but he is world renowned. He's not going to tell you half the stuff, but while we're here, we're talking about the coronavirus and is it really dangerous? That's our main topic. We want to try and keep everybody safe. Sean, tell us why you're an authority on this subject.
I don't know if I'm authority much of anything.
Well, you're more authority than me, so we're going to pass.
You know my wife, and you know what she'd say. So, my name is Sean Kaufman. I'm the CEO and founding partner of Safer Behaviors here in Woodstock, and we basically focus on behaviors around infectious disease. Worked in local public health departments, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Emory University, and then now in a small business, really guiding the leaders, those individuals working with infectious disease, primarily the dangerous ones, the ones that nobody wants to work around.
Okay.
Those are the typical ones we address.
So you've dealt with Ebola.
Yes, in 2014 we dealt with Ebola quite a bit. We always like to, it's...
when things are bad, it's good for you and your business.
Well, that's horrible.
Right?
Yeah, it's horrible to say to people, but we're always one outbreak away from retirement, so to speak, and that's really not a good catch line, and it's not something that we like to highlight, but the reality is that today we are going to be facing a lot of emerging infectious diseases. The coronavirus, which you mentioned, is an example of that. We have seen those with SARS. We saw it with MERS. Every year with influenza, we see it. The facts are that we've lived through emerging infectious diseases, and we will see many, many more in the years to come. So,
can you break it down for our viewers? How is this coronavirus different than the common flu that normally, men and women and children get here in our local area?
Well, there's a big difference. One of the biggest difference, and I don't need to get sci-tech or nerdy with you, is that most coronaviruses don't make healthy people sick. Right now, there's really three that we see that are causing serious illness in humans, and that would be SARS, which we saw in 2003. MERS, which is the Mideast respiratory syndrome, and then this new disease, this new coronavirus, which is really being called SARS-CoV-2, but as a disease, it's COVID-19. Very confusing. Don't worry about the semantics. The reality is most coronaviruses will cause cold-like symptoms in people. They just don't make people sick, and they certainly don't kill people.
So, could they have this coronavirus and then not know it at this point if they were sick?
Look, so when we look at infectious disease, especially emerging infectious diseases, we look at how likely is it to make someone sick, and how likely is someone going to die from it. And that's what we look at, the severity of disease. And the reality is what we're seeing with this disease is that it is what we would consider very infectious, meaning it's causing a lot of people to get sick, but not a lot of people are dying from it. Now, when you say not a lot of people are dying, one person dying is always too much. But when we look at seasonal influenza, typically we see rates of less than 1%. Right now we're seeing about 2.6%, but that's only of the cases we know about. Let me explain. Majority of people who get this will survive, will recover, and many of them won't even know they got sick with it. That's why we think that it's being spread so easily, is because most people are shedding the virus, but they're not showing symptoms as though you would think they would. And it's in that time period that they spread it. We see this concept called super spreaders, where one person will spread it to 8 or more people. And that's not typically somebody who's very sick. That's typically somebody who's walking around maybe not feeling up to the best that they've ever felt, but they're still functional and they're not feverish.
So they can still go to work.
Absolutely.
And carry on activities, go to the grocery store, and maybe just don't feel their best, but they're still very contagious. Handling things. What's your take of the groups that might have a higher risk of perishing from something like this, or just regular flu?
That's it's not good news, it's not bad news, but the reality is most of the deaths that we're seeing are occurring in individuals that have pre-existing medical conditions.
Okay.
So these conditions that they call comorbidity, individuals that are already sick with something,
Okay.
they get sick with this and it leads to a death. Most individuals that have a healthy, intact immune system are recovering from what we're seeing from this. And again, I don't want to raise the alarm here in Woodstock.
Right.
I mean, that would be the last thing I
Right.
want to do, because the reality is that we're at a place right now where we all should be alert.
Okay.
If we are considering international travel, we should be consulting with public health officials, watching the news, paying attention to what recommendations are out there. But right now, we're really in an alert status.
Okay.
We know that something in the world is happening. It is a public health emergency.
Right.
And we need to remain vigilant and pay attention to if someone begins to ask for us to engage.
Okay. Are there some precautions we can take just in general health, regardless of this virus or other viruses that are out there, that just general common sense things that we could do to keep ourselves, our families, safer than average?
What I'm about ready to say applies to everything.
Okay.
So if you can get into the habit of these things now, the next emerging infectious disease that comes, you'll be prepared for. First and foremost, we want you always to stay physically active. You should always try your best to be physically active, because your immune system works best when you are active, when blood is flowing. Stay hydrated. I want you to imagine that, I want you to imagine that your immune system is like 575. And the question is there traffic or is there no traffic? When you're dehydrated, it's very hard for your immune system to respond.
Wow.
So it's like an ambulance trying to get through a full set of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
When you're hydrated, which is one of the reasons why the first thing they do if there's an emergency is hook you up to an IV, they want your system to be working optimally. So stay hydrated. The third thing is that if you're sick, stay home. I mean, look, ladies and gentlemen, don't bring your stuff to the office. And if you recognize that someone's sick, practice social distancing. That means stay at least 3 to 6 feet away from them. Don't get around them. Don't get in tight spaces with them. If someone's sick, stay home and practice the responsible thing. Of course, the absolute golden aspect, the golden rule in any type of prevention is to wash your hands. And if you can't, sanitize them.
Okay.
But remember something, though.
Okay.
There is a difference between washing your hands and sanitizing. I want you to imagine, you know my kids.
Right.
Sometimes they go out and play and they step in dog poop. And then they leave it at the door, and if I go over there and I pick up their shoe and I get dog poop on my hands, well, I have feces on my hands. Now, if I take hand sanitizer and rub it all over my hands, basically what I'm doing is now I'm cleaning the poop, but I'm still rubbing clean poop all over my hands, meaning the poop is no longer going to be able to make me sick, but I'm still smearing it all over my hands. I'm killing what's in it that could make me sick.
Yeah.
Washing hands flushes what's on your hands off. And that's important, especially if you're around people who have compromised immune systems.
I gotcha.
If you have, your wives or your parents are fighting cancer, your husbands are fighting cancer, they may have compromised immune systems, and hand sanitizers may simply not be enough. So we want to make sure you wash your hands, sanitize your hands, and then last but not least, I am a big vaccine proponent. If we've got diseases and we've got good, sound, effective vaccines that demonstrate worth, definitely vaccinate yourself.
Wow, this has been very helpful. Sean, it's been great talking to you. I feel a little bit safer that I don't have to worry, but maybe I should knuckle bump you next time.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll go like that. This has been Dr. Keith with the EF2 Realty Team, powered by Keller Williams, and my special guest, Sean Kaufman. Thank you so much. Remember to subscribe and look down below. Make it a great day or not. Choice is yours. Bye now.